And we're back for our best bets for the AFC and NFC Championship game this Sunday. Obviously, we are down to 4 now in the National Football League, and we've got our 5 best bets for these 2 games. We're going to do 2 player props, 2 money line / spread plays, and also 1 team total under, which we'll get into in just a couple moments. But folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NFL content here on the channel. We're going to have our Super Bowl predictions coming up within the next week, and obviously we will still have best bets for Super Bowl 60 as well. But of course, this is how we get to the Super Bowl with the AFC and NFC Championship games. Obviously, Patriots going to Denver to take on the Broncos, and the Rams going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Earlier this week, we posted our full predictions for both games. Again, purely just predictions, no real betting action in that video, so go make sure to check that one out. Linked in the description down below. We'll have a more in-depth breakdown on each game in that video. But again, today are our 5 best bets. Also on the channel, daily college basketball best bets, daily NBA best bets, as we now get on to the first of our 5 best bets today for the AFC and NFC Championship game. Let's start first with one of our 2 player props. And the player prop we're going to be looking at, we're going to do 1 player prop for the AFC game, 1 player prop for the NFC Championship game, and obviously we're going to pick a money line / spread in each game as well, plus again 1 team total under that I liked. First up, Courtland Sutton over 46.5 receiving yards. I just think it's way too low of a line for the volume and production the Broncos are going to need out of him tonight or on Sunday. I just think he has to go over this number. I considered going Jared Stidham's over. It was 200.5 passing yards, so obviously 201 would win it for Stidham. I decided to settle on Sutton instead, just because I think this is a little bit more reliable. I think Stidham's going to have a great day. I just don't know how much he's going to do, because I think we might see just a lot of that ground game with RJ Harvey. It was just revealed that J.K. Dobbins is remaining on the IR. He's not going to be active for the AFC Championship game. Obviously, if the Broncos make the Super Bowl, it will be J.K. Dobbins alongside RJ Harvey. Real quickly, too, Bo Nix has not been put on IR yet for the Broncos. I don't think he's going to play the Super Bowl, but it is a little odd that they haven't officially, they've ruled him out, obviously, for this week, but they haven't put him on the IR yet. I don't think that means much, but just something to watch out for. Again, I don't think Bo Nix is playing football again in 2026, at least until the start of the regular season in September. But just a weird tidbit to this game. Anyways, though, I believe Jared Stidham is going to get someone involved in the passing game. I don't know how much, but when he does, the ball is going to go to Courtland Sutton. I mean, it's a Broncos receiving core that has just found production from a long list of guys this season. Obviously, Sutton has been their best player. Sutton is a Pro Bowler this year, had over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. I felt like he was good this season. I don't know about a Pro Bowl year. I know he's on the number 1 team in the AFC, but I mean, as a Courtland Sutton fantasy owner, I don't know. Some games, some weeks I needed a little bit more out of the guy, but that's neither here or there. Anyways, a big 4 catches in my playoff game against the Chiefs. It's okay. Regardless of all that. No, he produced in the Packers game, so what can I say? But anyways, Courtland Sutton, I would assume this week's going to have a monster day. Again, Jared Stidham, there's a question about how familiar is Jared Stidham with all these receivers. I mean, I'm sure, again, he's accustomed to throwing to a lot of these guys quite a bit. Obviously, Stidham has been around Denver for a couple of years. He did take over for Russell Wilson, who got benched in Sean Payton's first year in Denver. Stidham played the last 2 games of that year, went 1-1 with a win against the Chargers and a loss against the Las Vegas Raiders. But I'm looking at this. Courtland Sutton, I'm not going to say Courtland Sutton's a safety valve for Stidham this week, but he definitely is the best receiver out of the bunch. And when Stidham gets in trouble, a quarterback, again, who is, I think, a very capable quarterback in the NFL, but again, has not started a game in 2 years, if he needs to, again, get the football to someone when he absolutely needs it, it's going to be Courtland Sutton. There's some injury concerns as well for the Broncos receiving core, the main of which I'm just talking about Troy Franklin. Franklin is questionable. He was practicing this week with the hamstring injury, but in a very limited capacity. Franklin this year over 700 yards, right? We'll see. Obviously, did not play in the Bills game. We will see what we get out of him. Okay. Questionable is Troy Franklin. For everything we've seen indicates that we are getting, Sutton, Mims, Humphrey, Pat Bryant, Evan Ingram. Again, there's been some injuries floating around that receiving core, but it seems, again, it's just everyone other than Troy Franklin. I think Sutton's got to go over. It's just a low number, 46.5 receiving yards for the number one receiver on this team. I understand he will get the Christian Gonzalez matchup at times. I still think Stidham is going to, I'm not going to say he's going to force it into Courtland Sutton like, I don't know, Matthew Stafford forces the football to Puka Nacua, but I do think Sutton is still going to get a high volume and high number of targets. Last game against the Bills, he had four catches on 9 targets for 53 yards. Sutton's first catch didn't come until the second half. I believe it was late third quarter, might have been early fourth, but Sutton did not have an impact in that game until late. I think you got to believe the Broncos are going to really make it a, you know, I think they're going to make it a habit out of getting Sutton the football this week, especially on a backup quarterback. I think, again, 46.5 yards is just too low for the number one here for Denver, and I think Stidham's going to be fine. So I'm going to go over 46.5 receiving yards for Courtland Sutton against the Patriots. Again, the Gonzalez matchup is a little bit concerning. I still think Sutton's going to find his ways in terms of the yards and catches. On to our second best bet. Here is the team total under. I'm going under 23.5 points for the New England Patriots. I'm not going to give away who I think's winning the game yet and who I think's going to cover. We'll get to that in a couple minutes here. But I don't think the Patriots are scoring more than 23 points. Guys, this is the best defense in the National Football League. You can take the Houston Texans. You can take the Seattle Seahawks. So I know both those defenses are great. I know the Patriots just played the Texans last week. I really like the Broncos defense, man. They are loaded, and their secondary is just so good. With the exception of Riley Moss, who does get picked on quite a bit, everyone else is really shut down. You've got potentially the best cornerback in the game. You can argue now the best strong safety in the game in Talanoa Hufanga. Obviously, I'm talking about Pat Surtain as the best corner in football. That's pretty undeniable. Again, Hufanga's had a monster year returning to All-Pro form in his first season with the Denver Broncos, and that's just the secondary. I mean, I love what they do up front. I think their backers are great as well. Benito, Singleton, Greenlaw. I mean, they are a loaded bunch defensively, and I don't think the Patriots are scoring 24. They did go over this line against the Houston Texans, but they scored 28 points, and it took, a touchdown late, obviously, the Keyshawn Boutte grab. When Drake May hit Keyshawn Boutte downfield for that 32-yard touchdown. Again, don't forget the struggles the Patriots had with Houston at times in that game. Game was in Foxborough. I get it, the weather was not great in that one, but the Patriots have, kind of struggled to score in this postseason. And yes, again, Drake May is phenomenal. I believe Drake May should win the Most Valuable Player award. They're not going to give it to him, but he's had a great year nonetheless. In the playoffs, the Patriots have scored 16 and 28 points. They struggled to score mightily against the Los Angeles Chargers. But again, the Patriots have gotten away with these low-scoring offensive games because of how well their defense has played, because they haven't been pressing for points. And I will give the Patriots and Drake May credit here when they were pressing for points in that Houston game last week, when the Texans cut that lead to 5 late in the third quarter, and the Patriots absolutely needed to score. They got it. They got it on 6 plays and 71 yards. Again, that 32-yard pass from May to Boutte. They got it. But it's a team that has not, they haven't wowed me scoring. I mean, they had a pick 6 off of CJ Stroud in the second quarter, and then obviously they went down and scored again right after to make it 21-10, but their offense was completely stagnant in the second half. Drake May does fumble the football more than any other quarterback in the National Football League. You are going to get pressure off the edge, blindside, strip of Drake May. You're going to see that quite a bit. And I think the Broncos are going to have this team in hell. Obviously, this is not just about the Broncos defense and the Patriots offense. This is also about how does the Broncos offense play and how does this overall, game play out? How does the field positioning battle work in this one? Well, I think we're going to see the Broncos offense play well enough. And I don't think, if I can say anything, I don't think we're going to see a, crazy amount of turnovers from Jarrett Stidham. Guys, CJ Stroud turned over the football 4 times last week for the Texans. Woody Marks fumbled, and the Patriots could only turn it into 28 points. And yes, one of those turnovers, immediately resulted in a touchdown in the pick 6, but they've been able to force turnovers, and the offense hasn't exactly been able to capitalize with that. They sacked Justin Herbert 1 million times in the wild card game, and the offense only turns that into 16 points. And yes, the Chargers defense played well, and so did the Texans defense. Hell, the Houston defense specifically only gave up 21 points against the New England Patriots because of obviously that pick 6 that Stroud threw. And obviously the Texans defense was put in a lot of really bad positions because of the way that their quarterback played. But still, I don't think that they score more than 23 in Denver. I don't, are we forgetting where they're playing and the past of how New England has played in Denver? I mean, again, you're not going to find a bigger Tom Brady fan than myself. Tom Brady went 0-3 in Denver in the postseason. He never played well in Denver. Well, I guess his last game in Denver he won, but he was a Buccaneer by then. It was that weird game where Mike Evans finished with 2 catches and 2 yards and 2 touchdowns. Anyways, though, I mean, the Patriots have never won here. 2013 L in the AFC Championship game. 2015 was the weirdest year ever. Gostkowski misses an extra point off of a Steven Jackson touchdown run for the Patriots. Yes, the former Ram, Steven Jackson, had a touchdown early in that game. But then Gostkowski missed an extra point. I mean, weird things happen in Denver for New England. You can say, oh, well, whole new regime. It's, no longer Belichick, Brady, it's Vrabel and May. And that's fair, 100% is. But I am a big believer in how the past has played out. And this Denver defense, and again, what remains the same from the last time the Patriots and Broncos played in the AFC Championship game in Denver and now? Denver still has a great defense. And the Patriots have a good offense. Well, not Tom Brady good, but obviously the one thing that remains is that amazing Denver defense, obviously with no holdovers from that Super Bowl winning team 10 years ago, or I guess 11 years ago now. But also, it's freezing in Denver. It may be snowing. It probably will be snowing. We're looking at right now, it will be snowing in the second half. It's going to be below freezing in Denver. Good luck with scoring. And while I say that, I also believe the Broncos are covering 4.5 points. Absolutely. I think the Broncos are covering 4.5 here. Guys, everything indicates this will be a close game. And the only reason why people don't think it's going to be close is because of Jarrett Stidham. I am telling you right now, Jarrett Stidham is a capable National Football League quarterback. 100% he is. Stidham is going to play a good football game this week. He's been ready for this. Again, this is a guy who believed he should have been the starter last season when they named Bo Nix the starter. Jarrett Stidham said he was upset that he wasn't the starter. Sean Payton has come out and saying, obviously, yes, Payton kind of has to say this, but Payton says, I said that I believe I have 2 starting quarterbacks on my team. Stidham would be a 1 on a lot of other teams in the league, and now here he goes. He gets his opportunity. Again, the only reason why people think the Patriots are going to blow out the Broncos is because of Jarrett Stidham. I get it. There would still be people taking the Patriots if Bo Nix was playing, but this game would be even, and it would be a straight coin flip. I don't think 4.5 points. I don't think Jarrett Stidham makes the Broncos 4.5 points worse. I'll say that. I think Bo Nix has been phenomenal. Bo Nix's ability to, scramble, and the fact that Bo Nix just doesn't take sacks has been huge for Denver all year long. I don't think there's a crazy discrepancy in the way that Bo Nix leads an offense and Jarrett Stidham leads an offense. I believe Jarrett Stidham is a tremendous thrower of the football. Watch the games Jarrett Stidham has played already. The very limited action he got in New England, the games he started for the Las Vegas Raiders, and the few games he has started for the Denver Broncos. Jarrett Stidham has played good football. Jarrett Stidham does make good throws. He makes on-time throws, and he can put it where you want him to put the football. I think he's able to lead this offense. And at the same time, he's got the best defense in the National Football League backing him up. On top of that, the weather and the temperature and potentially the snow favors Denver. It's in their environment. We saw how sloppy of a football game the Patriots played last week in the snow and at home. Same exact situation, but now they're up at altitude. You're sucking you're sucking air a little bit. You're going to gas out more than, Denver's going to. And it's going to be, if you're lucky, 16 degrees. That is danger, in my opinion, for the Patriots. It's going to be cold as hell, snowing against this Denver defense. Yeah, I don't know how many points are going to be scored in general in this game. The overall over-under in this one, let me find that in a second, I think is very playable for the under as well, but I think this just favors Denver. The over-under is 42.5 points. I can see it. Guys, I don't think New England's getting into the 20s. My final score prediction for this game, legitimately, I think it's going to be ugly. I'm thinking like 13-17 in favor of Denver. That's kind of where I'm leaning right now. We shall see, though. But regardless, it doesn't matter who I think is going to win the game. The spread's 4.5 points. We will take the 4.5 for Denver. I think money line's extremely playable. I'd probably, sprinkle some on the plus 190 for Denver. Guys, they're at home. They opened as the biggest underdogs at home in an AFC or NFC Championship game of all time. They are no longer. Obviously, the line has moved, and I'm sure, again, that's a lot has to do with the weather. Again, I don't know why this game isn't closer. I think this should be 1.5. I think it should be 2.5. People are, the public is really underestimating the Denver Broncos and really underestimating this defense. If it's a blowout, it is what it is. I'm wrong. But guys, Denver specializes in winning the close and ugly football games. New England's been doing it the last couple weeks, but that's not what they want. That's not how they want to win. Denver does this every week. We've seen it so many times. We saw it in London against the Jets. We saw it against the Tennessee Titans. We've seen it against the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas. We saw it last week against the Bills. Was that an ugly game? Not really, but it was a close game. We've seen the Broncos, win week in, week out in the ugliest style of games imaginable. That's how they win. They depend on their defense. Hell, the Giants game where they had to come back. I mean, they let their defense carry them. And the offense makes the right plays at the right time. We just need Jared Stidham to make the right plays at the right time tonight on Sunday, and the Broncos are going to win the football game. New England's got a great defense too. Denver's is better. I'm going with the home team. Give me the Denver Broncos to go to the Super Bowl. I believe they're going to play in Santa Clara against either the Rams or the Seahawks. I am not picking the money line for the best bet, even though I think it definitely is worth a look. But the play for us is Denver Broncos spread at home. Give me +4.5 for the Broncos to cover against the New England Patriots. On to our fourth best bet of the video and our first of the NFC Championship game. Puka Nacua over 91.5 receiving yards. He's the best receiver in the National Football League, so why wouldn't I go to this? It's that simple. He's the best receiver in the sport, and he's got a quarterback that is more than willing to feed him all night long. I'm going with Puka. I mean, we know how Matthew Stafford plays. We know how Matthew Stafford operates an offense. We've seen it with Calvin Johnson. We've seen it with Cooper Kupp. And now it's Puka Nacua. In a must-win game, in a very difficult environment, up in the Pacific Northwest, Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington, Matthew Stafford is going to ensure his top receiver gets the football. Absolutely. Puka Nacua so far in the postseason, 2 games. He had 111 yards against the Carolina Panthers and only 56 yards against the Chicago Bears. Again, I had questioned mightily what the Los Angeles Rams were going to look like in Chicago. Cold game. Stafford's wearing a scuba suit under his uniform. Will he be doing that this week in Seattle? I don't know. We should probably check the weather. But that was always a game I was concerned about the Rams for. It was 20 degrees. Didn't like it. It's going to be cold this week in Seattle, but it's only going to be 40. It's a big difference than playing in 40-degree weather and 20 and, in the teens in terms of potential freezing conditions. We're going to see the Rams look like the Rams this week, and we're going to see Matthew Stafford look like Matthew Stafford. I firmly believe that. Don't forget the last time Los Angeles was in Seattle, they were a missed 2-point conversion away from winning that game, and if they didn't blow a huge lead, they would have won as well on Thursday Night Football. They lose 38-37, but let's not forget what Puka Nacua did in that game. How about 12 catches on 16 targets for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns? It was the best game of his career. You best believe, in a must-win spot, Puka Nacua is going to get forced the football. And I believe Devontae Adams being back only helps him here. Because Devontae didn't even play the Seahawks game. The Seahawks knew every single snap where the football is going. In overtime, late in the fourth quarter, Stafford drops back. They know where it's going. They couldn't stop it. Puka Nacua had a 58-yard touchdown, I believe it was. I think it was 58 yards in overtime to take the lead and go up by 7. Ultimately, Rams lose the game because the Seahawks went for 2 and got it. But, I mean, everyone in the building knew where the ball was going. Everybody watching the game on TV knew where the ball was going. And Nacua would still find a way to get open. Stafford would force it right to him. Why is that? Why wouldn't that happen tonight? On Sunday. It's going to. I mean, the same thing is going to happen, which we have already seen in this matchup. I don't think anything changes personally. I don't believe anything changes. Seattle's a good team. Seattle's a good defense. Obviously, they shut down the Niners last week. Well, okay, a San Francisco team that, again, there were little things in that game that continued to just, keep getting at the 49ers. San Francisco, I believe, had multiple opportunities to get back in that game and make it a contest. Obviously, the going for it on 4th down with, let's run Juszczyk and McCaffrey on a speed option. That makes sense. Let's go. Let's Jake Tonjes, again, this wasn't a Shanahan problem, but Jake Tonjes just fumbles a football after Purdy puts it right on him and tries to get the run after the catch. I mean, there were the little things that the Niners continue to let the Seahawks not even get back into it, but let the Seahawks dominate them with. Again, giving up the Shaheed kick return for a touchdown. Obviously, then the defensive holding on 3rd and 2 where they get a stop down by 11 points. I mean, there's just a lot of little things that went Seattle's way in that game. And obviously the Niners couldn't get back into it with their pass game. Yeah, the Rams, that's all they're going to do this week. I think Stafford's going to throw the ball up to 45 times, maybe more. I firmly believe in a must-win game. Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, going to look at this game and say, all right, we're going to throw the ball as many times as possible. Stafford had a pretty good game against Seattle, missed some big throws late, I will not lie to you. But Stafford against Seattle the first time around, 29 for 49 throwing the football, 457 yards and 3 touchdowns. Again, missed some opportunities in the fourth quarter to potentially seal the game. And obviously, Mevis missed the game-winning kick, but Stafford had a monster day. I would expect more of the same this week. And if Stafford's going to have a great game, Puka Nacua is going to have a great game. And as well, I like it too because, yeah, now there's a defensive adjustment and defensive emphasis on, oh, wait, hold on. We have to watch Devonta Adams now, who's an all-time great receiver alongside, the best receiver in football. I know against Seattle is going to, they will say something else, obviously, because of Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's great too. My opinion, Puka Nacua, best receiver in the NFL. And I believe Puka is going to go over the yards. I'm going to go Puka over 91.5. It's a lot. But Puka over 91.5 on the road in Seattle. And by taking Puka Nacua, we are also looking at the Rams money line. Guys, I can't shake the fact that Sam Darnold's one game off of the Super Bowl. And again, I've said before and I'll say it again, if Darnold wins this game, I will not doubt him anymore. Well, I might doubt him against one of the defenses he plays in the AFC. Even though I know the NFC is a heavy favorite right now to win the Super Bowl, I completely understand. I still cannot shake the fact that Sam Darnold's 2 games away from winning the Super Bowl and joining an elite tier of quarterbacks, obviously to win the entire thing. And I know, again, he'd be joining some players like, I know, Nick Foles and Trent Dilfer. I get it. There's some quarterbacks that you don't immediately think of as all-time greats who've won Super Bowls. Still, though, Jeff Hostetler, still, that's more Jarrett Stidham's role, but whatever. I can't really, I don't buy that Sam Darnold's a starting quarterback that's going to win the Super Bowl. I know, again, he's proven me wrong so far this season. I think in a must-win game, Matthew Stafford comes through. If Stafford is everything that everybody's trying to tell me he is, which, again, I understand how good Stafford is. Do I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL? No. Do I think he's the MVP? No. Well, if he is the MVP, he should be able to walk into one of the toughest places to play in the league with that crowd, with that defense, and he should be able to win. Because, guys, you may not want to hear it, but the reason why the Rams lost that last game to the Seahawks was not their defense choking, was not Sean McVay, it was Matthew Stafford. I know that might be crazy. Oh, the guy who threw for 457 yards, it's his fault they didn't win? Yeah, it was. Stafford, again, those quick 3-and-outs, Stafford throwing the ball in the dirt, all of that, again, trying to set up into field goal range. And I know Mevis missed a kick, but there were multiple opportunities for the Rams to get into field goal range at the end of the game, and he failed. You failed to get them in field goal range. I know, again, I'm nitpicking at a guy who threw for 450 yards, but if you are the best quarterback in the league, you should be able to set your team up into field goal range at some point. And again, is it his fault his team gave up the 2-point conversion? Is it his fault his team let the Seahawks drive down the field in overtime? Not at all. This is his chance to make it up, though. Leave no doubts. Stafford didn't play extremely well, I don't think, in Carolina or Chicago. Yes, the yards are good, but 24 for 42 passing for 300 yards. Great, all right. Threw that pick against the Panthers. It took a game-winning drive for the Rams to go into Carolina and beat the losing record Panthers. They then go to Chicago and win. Stafford doesn't play phenomenal football, but they do enough. Caleb obviously makes that incredible play to tie the game, and obviously then Williams throws the interception in overtime. I just think we need a good game out of Matthew Stafford this week. And also, again, I think the Rams will do what the Niners couldn't. And that was, I think they're more so, the Rams won't do what the Niners did. And that was gift the game to Seattle. Again, we already went over it, though. The fourth down speed option play used check to McCaffrey. Tanja's fumbling the football. The defensive holding, I'm not really going to put on the Niners. Again, you can call a defensive holding or an offensive holding on every play ever in the history of football. It's just whether the refs are going to call it or not. I'm not going to go at the Niners for that one. I thought that was crazy. I thought it was ridiculous. However, I don't think the Rams are going to completely give them the game. The kick return on the first play of the game. Again, it is what it is. Shaheed made a nice play. Shaheed cut up field. He scored a touchdown. Again, San Francisco's defense, or San Francisco special teams unit is on the field for that. You have to make the game difficult on Sam Darnold. And the Niners didn't do that at all. They never put Darnold in a tough spot. Sam Darnold, who had never won a playoff game going into that one against the 49ers, all fairness, he was only 0-1. But Darnold had never won a playoff game. He was, as the number one seed, all that expectation. He doesn't play a great game because, I'm not even going to fault Darnold for this. The Niners didn't make him do anything. 12 completions, 17 attempts for 124 yards and a touchdown. Again, there was no precarious situation Darnold found himself in. The Rams have a better defense than the injured 49ers. I think the offense for the Rams will put pressure on Darnold to score and find ways to score, and I believe the Los Angeles Rams are going to win the football game. Again, I don't believe Sam Darnold is going to be able to drag his team out of a ditch and win in the NFC Championship game with a spot in the Super Bowl on the line. I believe Matthew Stafford can. I believe Matthew Stafford's going to make those big plays. I still don't believe Darnold will. Sam Darnold, in his 2 games against the Rams this season, again, pulled them out and won that second game in Seattle, but this year against the Rams, Sam Darnold, 600 yards, give or take 550 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Against the rest of the league, the touchdown interception ratio against the rest of the league, pretty damn good. It's 23 to 8 picks. Against the Rams, 2 to 6. Yeah, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams. I think Stafford's going to put pressure on Darnold. I think the Rams defense is going to put pressure on Darnold, and I just don't think they're going to gift them the game like San Francisco did. Give me the Rams to win, money line at plus 115. Again, same picks as the beginning of the week in terms of the money line / spread. I believe the Super Bowl still will be Jarrett Stidham versus Matthew Stafford, Broncos versus Rams in Santa Clara, California. Folks, thank y'all for watching our best bets for the NFC and AFC Championship games. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back next week for the Super Bowl and Super Bowl best bets, obviously with the week off in between. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.